So I'm gonna be typing all this shit into the tier list shit, to the tier list text channel. So just hop into there, and you gotta unmute, bro. I don't know who that is, but I'm gonna give you VC Governor here momentarily.
I think that's t-shirts.
Okay. All right, bet. So
Do I give me VC Governor?
I'm saying is to unmute niggas, cause yeah.
I probably already had that power anyway.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so that's my first question right here. Where does the arc officially begin to y'all?
Okay, so it depends on what you consider the arc. If you're talking about like the invasion of like the Monster Association or like the entire Hero Hunter arc.
This arc started when Garou got into the frame.
You think it's the chapter when Garou shows up?
Yeah. I think it's when he attacks the Hero Association and rips off that one dude's arm.
Okay, I think there's in for the sake of like trying to get like official, because I'm trying to actually do this for the using in videos. If I interrupt somebody, just let me speak through you, and then I'll come back immediately when I'm done talking. You finish your point, because there's some things that I want to elaborate upon. So I think there's credit behind what you're saying, because he was the resolution of the arc. He was involved in the ending of the arc. So if he ended up being the main villain, then doesn't it mean that it has to start with him? Or like, isn't it plausible and possible? And we've seen multiple examples of villains being established in certain arcs and then being resolved in much later arcs.
No, I think you have a point about Garou. I was kind of looking back at the earlier chapters, and you could honestly even argue that the arc starts when, like, with the chapter with King, kind of like with the anime. The King stuff does lead into events that happen in the arc.
So, but at the same time, like, that's what I'm saying. You can have a character, for example, when the main character gets stronger in one arc, that strength that he gained in that one arc is gonna be the reason why he succeeds in the next one, or why he's able to compete better in the next one. So we're directly we're using that mentality. We're directly attributing, or you can directly attribute that technique or that style of writing to that as well. Basically intertwining all the arcs from the beginning of the storyline. So I'm saying there must be. While I can agree that Garou is the resolution of the arc, and his appearance should be in very much so consideration for the beginning of it as well. I think to use him as like the start mark it's like disregarding the rest of the events that happened there. Like the Monster Association was principally the reason why it happened. You know?
You could also think about it in the sense of like you have arcs and you have sagas. You can say like this was like one big saga that had like a bunch of like little arcs inside of them. Because it was like the tournament arc, and then there was like the monster invasion stuff.
I like the way you put that there, the Garou saga.
Yeah, this is more like Garou's saga, in my opinion. It's basically it all centers around him and his arc, and his arc is basically concluded, or at least severely shifted by chapter 170. That's where I stand on it.
Yeah, because I was about to say you could consider from when Garou shows up to like 170 to be like the Hero Hunter arc, or like the Human Monster arc, or this Human Monster saga rather, with like Yang said, a bunch of like others like arcs within that saga. I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, so then, okay, I like that distinction. I'm gonna type it in here real fast.
It's Lub.
Oh fuck.
What's the date right now?
The
4th?
date?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 4th.
Right.
Okay. Sorry, I'm typing slow, bro. My keyboard spacebar is like the springs for are effed. So
You're good.
if I don't fucking hit that bitch hard as fucking slow with great intention, it'll fucking stick all my words together. Why am I like watching? Yeah, bro. Like I keep cursing in between everything I say. Let me just
Relax, bro.
let me relax, baby. All right.
Take a nice deep breath.
Okay, so if we can establish that this is the Garou saga, and there are multiple arcs within that saga, then what would be the first arc of that saga? Is it the Hero Hunter arc, or like
I think you could call it the Hero Hunter arc. I think I don't know what the name would be for it, but I know it would be like between when King is introduced until like right before the tournament starts. There would be like something for that.
it would be like I would assume it starts at like the big like criminal meeting, like when Garou just like completely wrecks the room of criminals. That's when like the Hero Hunter arc starts.
Yeah, and then we go through his hero hunt. We see the invasion. I think that like the invasion would be considered the second part of the saga, like from the monster
Yeah,
association
so like
up to the surface.
hold on,
There's, like,
hold on,
like,
because you have to define. When I said go to the Garou, the Hero Hunter arc. When I mentioned that was a suggestion. I wasn't saying that. That's actually the beginning of the saga. So like, don't just say that. Yeah, that's the beginning of the saga. I'm asking you specifically, what instance is the beginning of the saga, and what's the end of the saga, and what like define the things that are within that first arc of the saga. Like specifically define it.
okay. So like if you want to say like the entire Hero Hunter saga starts from like where season 2 starts all the way until the recent chapter, I would say like there's like 4-ish arcs in there, or 5 even. The first one would be like you were saying earlier, the Hero Hunter arc, when we're first introduced to Garou and we just see him like hunting the minor heroes. And then the second thing would be the tournament arc with Suiryu and all that. The third thing would be like the first invasion where like there were a bunch of monsters on the surface. The fourth thing would be the actual invasion, like when they go underground. And if you want, you could technically do like a fifth thing and say like the surface arc when Tatsumaki lifts the base and they're all on the surface now. That's kind of how I would break it down.
And then, of course, Cosmic, or rather, Garou versus Saitama, or at least Garou's emergence on the surface, could kind of be considered its own. That's just my thought. I agree with basically all of that.
All right, I can agree with that for the most part too, but let's go on the micro scale and focus on just the first one. Let's define the beginning and the end point of just the first arc, and define the events that happen within that first arc.
The beginning point would probably be when Garou first like officially begins the hero hunt and starts beating up criminals and then starts beating up heroes. And the end point of that arc would probably be
I think it'd be Garou versus Metal Bat, right? Because that's when the invasion starts.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I would say it starts from
Does
when
Garou versus
Wait,
does
go ahead.
Garou versus Metal Bat happen before the tournament?
It does.
Yes.
Okay, then yeah, that'll be fine. You could say that's like the end point.
So yeah, it starts at like the big meeting and it ends with like Garou versus Metal. That's what I would say.
Like chapter 41, I would say, is when it starts, or even like the end of chapter 40. Yeah, kind of like what Skull said there, like the start of the saga, because there was like a little bit of portion there with like King, which I don't consider to be part of the Hero Hunter arc.
So when he starts to attack minor heroes, Metal Bat versus Garou are the two big markers for the Hero Hunter arc.
I'd
I would
say
also
also the Tank Top Master fight is
Yeah.
a big one.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's when. Yeah, that's his like first S-class defeat. So
you want to talk about like the major events that define the arc, I would also say like the first thing when like Garou like beats up like all the villains and the three heroes at the meeting.
Yeah, because that's when the hero hunter. That's when the hero hunt officially starts. So yeah, like
Yeah.
four things. Yeah, yeah.
Well, repeat that
If you
again.
think about like if you think about the tweet that Murata made, like he was literally saying like that's like the beginning of the arc himself, like that whole Garou parallel. I was just saying like when he first like attacks the heroes and the criminals at the meeting, I would say like that's like the defining point that starts the arc.
Okay. So the hero hunter arc is defined as when Garou first begins the hero hunt. He starts attacking people at the meeting, and then he slowly starts attacking minor heroes like who's it? Spring Mustachio and Golden Ball. They included in here too.
Yeah. Like some tank toppers.
Yeah.
It's also worth noting that during that series of events, specifically Garou as the hero hunter is like the main focus of the arc. When we go on to like later arcs and we keep moving on through the story, the Monster Association as a whole becomes a bit like more pressing than Garou. But for those like those early chapters, Garou is like the main focus.
You could also say this is like when Garou first meets Tario. Because he like sees him in the park before he hunts like Spring Mustachio.
Yeah, that's before Malbat. Yeah. Oh no, that's yeah, it's before Scream Mustachio. You're right. Yeah.
Oh, for real? Yeah, he meets Tadio in here. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super important.
He meets him. He meets him before fighting Spring Mustachio and Golden Ball, and then he meets him before fighting Metal Bat.
Okay. So then are we because the only reason that he fights Metal Bat is because EC was attacking the city, along with all the rest of the boys like Senior Centipede and Raffle City and the boys, and that was actually the start of the invasion, what I would consider the invasion arc.
Yeah,
So
that's
part of
the
the
thing.
invasion- Those were two separate attacks though, weren't they?
No.
Because I feel like I honestly might not be remembering this correctly, but I thought that Psychos had sent the Elder Centipede just to capture the kid, and that was completely separate from the invasion that happened during the tournament. So I thought the tournament happens after that, and then that's when the invasion happens.
I believe EC was signaled the start of the invasion on the surface because it was very soon after Metal Bat versus Garou and EC like disappearing that a bunch of monsters started like immediately coming up.
Okay, that's
There was
remembering.
the second time that EC came was in the scenario where he got killed.
Yeah.
The first time he came was in the invasion when he was after Wagama, like you're saying. That was indeed the purpose. But that was also a cover for everything else that happened, because this is when the cadre showed up, when Goketsu, Neon, and I think it was somebody else. And I think it was Tadagini.
100 Eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
In 100
right.
Eyes, when they all went to go either get minions, other monsters, or turn people into monsters, or just go devastate cities or whatever. But that was happening alongside them. Like, yeah, they were gonna kidnap an executive and his child to bring him down. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that is the start of an arc. Like, we have to define that as something that happened, and that's why the Garou versus Metal Bat happened. So I would even say that maybe Garou versus Metal Bat isn't defined in the Hero Hunter arc. It should be in the next arc, the second one.
Do you think?
I would say it's
Like,
really hard to say it like most accurately, just because like all these arcs seem to like overlap with each other and happen with different key inciting incidents. For example, the invasion was with EC, but Metal Bat fought EC, and then Garou started fighting Metal Bat while the invasion was still going on. So if you want to call that like an endpoint for the
Yeah,
Hero
it was
Hunter arc
like-
and the start of the invasion arc, sure. But you know,
Yeah, it's like a weird timeline sort of thing. Because even though the Metal Bat stuff is happening before the tournament, the timeline implies that it's happening like during the tournament or after the tournament.
I mean, we also have to remember that like Garou's storyline doesn't necessarily get intertwined with the Monster Association up until like when he gets rescued by Phoenix Man. That's when his storyline really starts to interject with it.
Yeah.
Besides
Or
that,
you
it's
feel
really
like-
just like them clashing, or like them they happen to have characters who are intertwined with each other. So And I noticed I didn't say arc. I said storyline. Like his storyline, the reason or the points where he's relevant in the story, they're interjecting in multiple different arcs. So it's okay for him to be ending or fighting Metal Bat in the beginning of the next arc, but we still have to define what's the end of the first one. Like, are we saying that, like we pointed out, the monster invasion has to be the beginning of an arc that defines
Yeah,
something
it's not that
big.
linear.
Yeah. But hold on. But
So
at the same time, what happened before that? Like, what was Garou doing before he ran into Metal Bat? That to me would basically be the end of the Hero Hunter arc, because we're defining that arc or the first arc in the saga as the Hero Hunter arc, primarily because of when Garou became relevant. We know he was talked about beforehand, but when he first showed up was when in the hero meeting he attacked the heroes that Sitchai gathered together, and then all the other shit unraveled from there. But all that unraveling has to end at the next significant thing, which would be the monster invasion. So as I'm pointing out, okay, I think we should go with the Metal Bat and Garou fight being in the monster invasion arc and not the Hero Hunter arc, the second.
I agree.
But what are we defining as the end of the first one? What was Garou doing right before this?
I think chapter.
Can I say
chapter
something?
50, go ahead.
I don't think it's that linear. I think this is an odd statement. I think the Hero Hunter arc actually lasts until like maybe after the Death Gatling fight, like with that squad, and the invasion is the separate entity that emerges as its own arc, while Garou is still going through his entire saga. You know what I mean?
You're saying like the two arcs are happening at the same time.
I think he's talking about Garou's storyline. Because even if we accept,
That goes back to the whole concept of like saga versus arc, right? We already agree like this whole thing is kind of like the Garou saga. We're trying to like give it like key points like that we could call arcs.
Yeah. I guess in general, it would be more accurate to call Garou's hero hunt like in the beginning, as well as everything else, like King's introduction, the pre-phase, while the invasion with Elder Centipede emerging is like the start of our first main arc. You know how there's like a prologue, I guess?
Oh no, I agree with that viewpoint as well too. Like the fact where there's a significant, consistent threat to the plot would begin, with the monsters invading. Like they're agreeing to get together. Right. We heard whispers about it back in the Combo Infinity scenario or situation. Like we know that's been bubbling, and that we could definitely call that the first big arc we've had. Agreed. But at the same time, there's been things that have been relevant for that arc from before that happened. So that's why I think, to be more specific, or maybe even just fanboy over it, I would agree to call this the Garou saga.
So kind of just going off the question that Grimm was asking earlier, I think a good point for the first like arc to end is chapter 51. Because that's when Saitama had like met up with Garou for the first time and he knocked him out with the chop.
Oh yeah, that's when
I think the arc ends at 59.
What happened in 59 and 51?
That was the end of the Metal Bat fight, and that was like the confirmation from the Hero Association that monsters were popping up everywhere.
For chapter 51, it was when Saitama met Garou at the market and then knocked him out by karate chopping him. And the chapter ends with like him showing Genos the wig.
And that was the last thing that happened, or that was the last person Garou fought before Metal Bat?
Yeah.
At the beginning of the Metal Bat fight, is he talking about like fucking waking up and then like, oh, I don't know what happened?
Let me check.
No, I think he was looking for Watchdog Man, and Metal Bat interrupted him.
Yeah, so
let's look at the Metal Bat fight.
So looking at the manga, the next chapter, like Garou's already awake. He doesn't really talk about what happened though.
Oh, he doesn't.
Okay, so what happened? So what happened was Garou's next target after like Spring Mustachio and Golden Ball was Watchdog Man. He only just happened to see Metal Bat like fall in front of him, but he thought that Metal Bat was knocked out, so he says, "Okay, I'll still just go after Watchdog Man." But then Metal Bat woke up and he started hunting Metal Bat. That's what happened. His next intended target was Watchdog Man, but Metal Bat like just happened to be his next target. I can grab the scans. Hold on. Where is it?
The reason why I kind of like the idea of going until chapter 59 is because I think you still like have the tournament saga before you have the surface invasion with the monsters. if you try to like say the invasion starts with the metal bat stuff, then you gotta say like you have the invasion, but then you have the tournament arc, and then you get back to the invasion again. That's when it gets like really weird.
Should I just
Yeah.
post the
See
Should I
what I'm
just post the in,
Every arc overlaps, at least in the
That's
beginning.
it.
Should I post scans and tier list, by the way, or for the people?
If you do it with like t-shirts order, I think it just goes a little bit better. It feels better.
I'll just post them for the people. Anyway, there it is. Oh. Hello?
I don't know what happened either. Did Grimm dip for a little bit?
Yeah, I'd say.
Damn, bro. I was talking this whole time, bro. I'm not gonna mute anymore, bro. Damn, dog. I am not gonna mute anymore. Fuck. No, I was just saying that, like, yeah, like, what? How did he get those scratches on his chest?
Oh, that's from a show. He cut his shirt.
Oh, Spring Mustachio. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He
Then,
barely. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Then.
And
And when was he talking to Tadio? That was chapter 59 too.
No, it was 51, I think, where he announces. No, which one was it?
It's chapter
Is that when
49.
he first met him?
The first time he talks to Tario is chapter 49. The second time he talks to Tario is chapter 54.
Okay, 51. It looks like 51 should be the end of the Hero Hunter arc. What is 59 when he fights Metal Bat?
59.
Beginning
No,
of-
59 is like afterwards when he's finished fighting Metal Bat, and then the Hero Association starts talking about how monsters are popping up everywhere.
58 is the Metal Bat fight.
Okay, I guess you could say that's still like the official ending of the beginning, or like where the beginning conflict has been established. So okay.
After we discussed it, honestly, I think 59 is a better ending point than 51.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
I would agree.
So the beginning of the second arc, the Monster Invasion arc, is 58, 59. Yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't even say it's the beginning of the Monster Invasion, because that I would say it's the tournament. Because we had the whole tournament stuff, and that's when they really focus on the Monster Invasion.
But the Metal Bat fight, if you're telling me that the Metal Bat fight happened before 59, like 59 is after the Metal Bat fight, then 59 has to be part of the Monster Invasion arc, because that's the reason why it's significant.
No, so at the end of the Metal Bat fight, they announce that monsters are invading, but they don't show it to us. They start doing the Saitama tournament stuff. And it's only during then that Genos hears about the monsters.
But that had already happened. The super tournament had already begun.
Right, because like timeline's all weird about that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like the super tournament. I don't know why niggas are calling that an arc. Like, did the volume call it an arc or something like that?
It's not an arc.
No. Okay, you can do it that way then too.
Like,
so you want to say like the monsters of invasion? That's like the tournament is just part of the monster invasion arc.
Yeah. Also, in chapter 59 is when they announce the opening ceremony of the tournament.
Okay.
49.
Hey, it's
59.
59.
Same chapter.
Okay. Then yeah. And hold on, yeah. Okay. So you're saying that the tournament began Wait, what do you mean the tournament began? Like you're talking about the first time Saitama and Genos talked about it, or like when the fighting was going to begin?
Like when the fighting was going to begin. 59 is when whatever his face is comes up to Saitama and says the opening ceremony is about to start.
Chapter 60 is when the tournament actually starts, when like all the contestants
Because
start.
if you guys remember, what was the guy's name? Sourface, and the other guy's
Yeah.
Sharenko. Like he was having interactions with them before that. So like, I guess, fine. If we got it, it's gonna be like mixing, like wish wash and like mixed within each other. But like, for the most part, it seems like what you guys are, or what's been unofficially dubbed the Super Fight arc and the Monster Invasion arc are staggered together, with the Super Fight arc being just after the beginning of the Monster Invasion arc. And while I will distinguish the Super Fight arc, the Super Tournament arc, excuse me, because Saitama does learn a lesson individually, and we get a major character introduced there as well, and like it seems like there's a resolution that occurs there. That resolution happens in conjunction or alongside with the beginning of a much bigger problem, which is the Monster Invasion arc. Which is why I would even say like that's even more like a little soliloquy within the greater Monster Invasion arc, the beginning of it. But
I agree. I honestly think we should just call it the Monster Invasion arc, and the tournament is just part of it.
I feel like
What are we talking about?
if you look at it a certain way, you could kind of see the Super Fight tournament as a parallel to Garou's like initial hero hunt, but for Saitama, because he's also searching for something, you know.
Okay, so Tori, right now we're trying to like break up the entire saga into a bunch of arcs. We're basically trying to say that like tournament. At first, I was trying to say we should call the tournament an arc, but the more we discuss it, I think it's better to just say we should like say when the monsters invade the surface, that's an arc, and the tournament is just part of it.
we're in the tier list text channel, so please refer to that. We're not for the people right now.
So yeah, I think like chapter 58 will be the end of the first arc, and then chapter 59 begins the monster invasion arc, which the tournament is just part of.
Okay. So the goal here is I'm trying to break down the arcs into content so that we can discuss it like that. So basically we're trying to define all the different points where the arcs begin and end. So we've agreed to define the beginning of Garou's storyline and the ending of Garou's storyline as the overarching saga that these things are in. So Garou isn't necessarily the big distinguisher. He's going to be a factor in distinguishing the ending and the beginning of arcs. But that's what we're going to dub the Garou saga. From when Garou first arrives during Sitch's meeting with the villains till Garou's defeat by Saitama and then consequential redemption through Bang and apologizing or whatever at the end. That's
Right.
the Garou saga.
Okay.
Can
So
you agree
then,
with that?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that makes sense. So then, what do you when you hold on? Let me
Right now,
start
we're
my
just making a
question.
bunch of arcs within that saga.
Yeah, but you're talking about the tournament arc and what else? What is the other arc that you were?
So the first thing that we
Hold
said
on,
was the
hold on,
hero
hold on,
hunter
hold on. If we just go through with it, go through what we've done so far, he'll understand where we're at now. So,
Grimm, can you
now
change
that-
it to 58 by the way? I think it's 58, not 59 that it ends.
okay.
Oh no, that's what I meant. Okay, no, I was looking at it,
Yeah.
Grimm. So you're talking about whether or not Monster Invasion arc should just be the monsters literally invading, and then that also include
Yeah.
the tournament entirety.
Because if
And
you
then-
try to make the tournament a separate thing, it starts like mixing up and like going back and forth, and it gets a little weird. So I think we should just call it one thing.
Like the very
So then
go ahead.
go ahead. Oh, so if you're not counting the tournament arc as its own thing, you would be saying that the invasion
Surface invasion.
is from when. Who was the first monster? Whenever
So,
Metal
At the
Bat
beginning of chapter
that
59,
happened.
they announced that monsters are attacking, and we see like all the people.
Right, so
like,
you would be
Yes,
saying it's
but that
from
happened
it's
first.
from
Go ahead.
right. Yeah. I know. I'm saying it would be from then to when.
Trying to think of like when the invasion ended. So
Hold on.
Because-
We'll get. Hold on. We'll get to the end of that We'll get to the end in a second. First, I would like to define the beginning. We defined where one ends. We're all in agreement that it seems we're in agreement that the Hero Hunter arc, what we're calling as the first arc in the story, where, as pointed out by you guys, when he first comes to Sitch's meeting and attacks the villains there, when he begins his hunt of minor heroes, when he fights the Tank Top fight, when he fights Spring Mustachio, other Tank Top ballers, and Golden Ball, and when he meets Tadio. Those are big events that happen in the first arc. That ends around what we're defining as right before the Metal Bat fight, because the Metal Bat fight was well within the Monster Invasion arc. So now the question is, what are we defining exactly as the beginning of the Monster Invasion arc? And I think I actually got to it by asking, okay, who fought first? So what chapter did we see the monsters first attacking? Is it like 58 or 50? No, it can't be 58.
59. 59.
So the Metal Bat fight begins? No, it doesn't.
Metal Bat fighting. I thought you meant like.
Who's the first person that fights?
Weren't the first people who started fighting like I don't know the monster's name.
Rhino Wrestler
So-
beat up some like fodder heroes trying to protect like the son and the father.
Yeah,
That's the first.
Okay, so that's what we're talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. Because
that's
people
before
had
Metal
missions.
Bat.
Yeah, people had missions that they were doing. Like they got sent out to different places. I know we saw Goketsu and Neon going out there to scout for people to join and shit like that. Those things were happening. 100 Eyes was attacking a city. So let's look for that in the. I'm gonna pull it up right here. I just need to know the chapters and we can look it up. But
I think it's still chapter 59.
59 is when we first see monsters attacking different people.
Yeah. Oh, we see them fighting heroes, if that counts.
Okay, I need to point out which ones too. So let me go to.
You can post pictures if you want.
No, I need to write it down so that whenever I make a video or whenever we're discussing it in a discussion, that I can refer to these major points.
All right.
Sorry. Let me keep looking for a sec. I'm looking through the arc in the manga.
It's not 56. EC's already rampaging in 56.
Yeah.
It's not 53. Don't put it back. I think it is Metal Bat who fights first.
You're considering EC then, yeah?
Yeah, because in 50, that's when Garou fights Spring Mustachio. 51 is whenever the executive no. 51 is just like a side. Is when Saitama and Garou first meet. Then you have Metal Bat. Yeah, that's when it starts. Metal Bat, and then the restaurant they're in starts shaking and shit. 52.
I guess
Metal Bat.
Question again: do you consider the
Metal
Metal
Bat
Bat
does-
part of the first arc or the Monster Invasion stuff?
Repeat that.
So it goes back to the question of: do you consider Metal Bat versus EC part of the Hero Hunter arc or the Monster Invasion arc?
Well, even before that, Senior and whatchamacallit is that not when everyone else starts attacking?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
try to like.
Genius and Raiden Raffles.
Nope.
No.
I got a chapter right here. The chapter where we last see Garou is at night, and he's fighting Spring Mustachio and Golden Ball in an alleyway. Then the next thing we see is a chapter called the next thing that's relevant is the Saitama and Garou encounter. But then right after that next relevant thing, which we could, I agree. That's what Yang was saying in the beginning. That chapter 51.
Chapter 51.
Yeah, chapter 51 is going to be the end of the Hero Hunter arc. That's the last thing we see
saying.
Garou do, for sure.
It feels like a definitive end.
Yeah.
And chapter 52 is when the guys attack Metal Bat and the other people, and then at the end of that, the very last page, that's when like the super fight thing is.
Exactly. Yep. That's why the super fight happens simultaneously. So I'm going to consider the super fight within the Monster Association arc as major events that happen along the way. And the beginning of the arc will start on chapter 52, as you just pointed out. Don't put it back. See, that's how you do it, bro.
Okay.
Good
So
shit.
then,
So now we talk about the major things that happen from this point onward, and we have to define an endpoint as well.
Well, I think
Could
I
we
got an
ju-
endpoint
could
for
we
the
could we
invasion.
define the endpoint first? I think that would just make it easier.
Bet.
Yeah, I have one in mind already. I was looking
Pretty
at
sure.
chapter
Oh, God.
77 when King rolls up to Saitama. That's like soon after Goketsu gets his ass whooped. By then, the monsters are gone, and then, like we were talking about before, even though I don't think we counted that as an official endpoint, Saitama beats the shit out of Garou again, and then we get to the next thing, Death Gatling.
Very nice.
It's kind of funny, like all the endpoints Saitama's beating on Garou.
Yeah.
Yo, and then we get yes, we get
The next chapter right after that is when the Sonic thing happens, and then after that is when
the ninja soliciting for the arc that's coming. That's why they become relevant characters right then. An introductory of relevant characters for the next thing. And we also get Zombie Man, who's becoming relevant for the first time as well. Let me see here. What else happens in that chapter?
Well, it's pretty much like all of the. Actually, what is this?
The Monster
chapter
Association
after-
gets an actual declaration or an actual introduction. Bet.
Yeah, so what
Yeah.
happened was chapter 77 is where Saitama knocks Garou out and like kicks him through the wall. Chapter 78 is focused on the ninjas trying to like coerce Sonic into taking a monster cell. And then chapter 79 is like the monsters discussing what happened on the surface and like Orochi killing a waking cockroach because like he lost his legs and whatever.
Yeah, and then the chapter
The
after that is
79 feels
when
like a
the
huge
A-class attack, whatchamacallit, Garou.
79 is also where like Giro gives them 3 days to prepare. So like that's like the officially the start of the war, quote unquote.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
say like
Alright.
70 or
Are you
79?
Wait,
Yeah.
70. I have to look at 78 again. So that was when the ninjas were trying to recruit Sonic.
78 is
Yeah.
where they're trying to
That
do
was-
Sonic.
Wait, what happens in 79?
79 is like
the
Orochi
whatchamacallit
killing the waking cockroach and
monster,
stuff.
and then that monster thing attacks the officials at the Hero Association that was sent by Garou.
Okay, and this is 70. Okay, this can't be an arc because the hero invasion arc doesn't start for a little while here. This is whenever like, but then it can't be arc 3 cannot be called monster war arc. It has to be called something else. Hold on. Yeah, hold on.
I mean,
Hold on. I have to get this straight so the viewers understand my thinking, and then we can continue to elaborate from that point. Right now,
Are you
what we're
sure?
doing, yeah, I have to. Right now, we're defining the name of the third arc because we just talked about the ending of the second arc. After we finish doing this, getting a proper name for the beginning of the third arc, we're going to go back to pinpointing the major events in the second arc because we now have an endpoint, chapter 77, when Garou attacks Saitama and King. So, please continue what you were saying about what should the name be of the beginning of the third arc, based on the events in the third arc.
Well,
What's
you
the
were
name of
kinda
that?
out there, but what I was just trying to say is you could also just have like a little mini arc called the pre-invasion arc, which is like all the stuff that happens before they actually go like underground. So it's still a lot
It's
of
pretty
events that
much the entire arc's pretty much Garou escalating on whatever staircase he was talking about because it's pretty much the end of 79 is when the Death Gatling sees Garou running away, and then the beginning of 80 is when Genos
they
is getting
attack him.
repaired. And then around the end of 80 is when they actually are there to attack him. Actually, what page is this?
Okay,
Yeah,
but
that's right.
isn't that happening at the same time? No. Okay, because I'm confusing. I think we're talking about events in the Monster Invasion arc right now. No. Oh, fuck, that should just confuse me, bro. That means I got to do a big fat reread.
let's go one step at a time. So right now we're talking about the monster invasion arc. We said it starts at chapter 52.
Yeah, bet. Let me just
And I'm still a little bit
one second. Yeah, I'm just gonna title the third arc right now, XX arc, so that we know that we have to name it. I would have put a third X, but you know.
Wait, hold
We were
on.
talking about though, like how we think chapter 77 should be the final chapter. What about like chapter 78 though? Because here's the weird thing. I agree that chapter 77 feels like a good end, but at the same time, I feel like chapter 79 feels like a better beginning to the next arc. Then you just have chapter 78 that's kind of there in the middle. It's hard to tell.
Yeah,
which
but
arc-
you got to consider like the fact that there has to be downtime content. It's not like it's arc then arc then arc.
Yeah, no, I definitely
Yeah,
feel like in '78, what we got were the beginning agents or the introduction for the major characters in the next arc. Like the only reason why we learned about the ninjas is because they're going to be prevalent in the next arc, and they ended up being not only one of Flash's main villains, but now they're still going to be relevant in the storyline as they're still around, and they're going to be they were a big asset for Sonic as well, so they're building into his storyline. It's a straight introduction. I can definitely see why there's an argument because of the whole downtime demeanor or like aura of the storyline, but we even get to see like Zombie Man like get his first hunch, like, and that hunch is what. If somebody just mentioned, I think it was Tatu just mentioned that this arc is really just the evolution of like Garou to a certain point, and Zombie Man is the one who begun that narrative. So I think it has to be chapter 78 is the beginning, or excuse me, chapter 77 is the beginning, or the end of the last one, the beginning of the first one,
Yeah, I think that's fair.
of the third one, excuse me.
If you kind of like think about it, like in terms of like an anime, you can probably fit
One sec.
78 and 79 in one episode.
Okay, so now that we've established that we're gonna agree to define a chapter or an arc title later on, and that we've cleared the contention of 77 versus 78 for chapter ending or for arc ending and beginning. I'd like to elaborate more upon the things that happen, the major events that happen in the Monster Invasion arc, the second arc.
All right. So the first thing is, since Garou attacked
Can
the
we-
executive,
Can I ask a question first? I'm confused now.
Okay.
So, Grimm, when you said that, what do you mean?
So, starting from chapter 52, don't put it back, to chapter 77.
Right.
What happened in between there? That were the
Oh,
major
okay.
things.
I
I was just saying, like, the first thing is that since Garou attacked an executive, they decided that they need bodyguards now, which is why they had assigned Metal Bat to Narinki.
Okay. What else?
you want to get like hyper specific or what? What do you
Well,
mean?
what I'm gonna put right now is I'm gonna put monsters invade multiple cities.
Right.
The next one I'm gonna put is we have Metal Bat versus Gorilla. That's gonna be a big thing in there. Then we have to put in
And
Super Fight.
Watchdog. Oh, okay.
Okay, Watchdog
like-
2 right after this.
So, like, yeah, Metal Bat versus, like, all the centipedes.
Metal Bat versus the Centipedes.
And then I guess you can consider this, well, it is a big event. The child gets kidnapped, whatever his name is, Wakanda.
Yep.
Are you just going to include like the tournament as just one like singular point, or
Well, it's fine to define more things within it because they're gonna. Yeah, it's about discussion. So yeah,
Okay.
you can define whatever you want.
I guess, like, yeah, Suiryu gets introduced.
it's actually important in that? I guess when he took out Snake, that was pretty important because both Lightning Max, Snake, and Genos all had a similar reading of Siryu, and then after that is when he fights Saitama, which is a pretty big event. And then after that, Genos fights Awakened Cockroach, Face Ripper, and gets hit by Koketsu. And then I don't remember what she to be honest. Isn't that when Koketsu and Chose show up, right?
What?
Yeah, and One Nation said that's when
That's
we see Orochi for the first time.
oh.
But yeah, Metal Bat gets, like, kidnapped or, like, taken by, I don't know what the word is. He gets kidnapped, and that's when he sees Orochi. And that's when we see
Who gets
Orochi for the
kidnapped?
first time. I say kidnapped, but, like, he's a robot, like the Metal Knight drone.
I don't think he
No,
got
the-
kidnapped.
the-
he
the me-
he
the metal-
hitched a ride on EC.
Yeah,
to,
the
to
Metal Knight
chase him
drone
down, and he got clapped.
Yeah, the Metal Knight drone attached itself to EC, and then
Oh,
he
yeah.
just go, yeah.
Like,
One
we follow
layer.
it. Alright. It's been a while, my bad.
Okay. Okay. Oh, Saitama versus Goketsu. Should put that in there too. Yeah.
Did you include when he entered the stadium? Because I think that was pretty big.
We'll get to.
The
Yeah.
introduction of monster cells
Yeah, that's a big one.
with the. Oh wait, no. Yeah,
Did it-
atomic.
Are,
atomic.
are,
That
yeah, I
happens
was
in the
gonna say,
atomic
are you
chapter.
gonna include that? Yeah, that's like.
Oh, yeah.
That.
Is that part of these chapters?
Yep.
Atomic stuff?
Yep.
Right,
That
because during the
is-
atomic chapter, that's when we get introduced to monster cells.
You're right.
That's 72. Yeah, no.
That's 62, I think. 63.
I guess you could also argue that Drive Knight interrogating monsters could also be an important plot point in this arc.
Nigga, I don't remember seeing that.
That's when we first see his knight form monsters, and then afterwards the Hero Association says that they have.
Oh, the atomic thing was 69. I bet. Not 72.
Okay. So right now, as you can see, what we have. Hold on. Okay, we're good.
You could also like say that like Gyoro is like observing all the S-class fight. I think that's when you determine like demon levels aren't enough to kill these guys. We need to like make special preparations.
Okay.
These points supposed to be in chronological order. Okay.
No,
I don't think so.
it doesn't matter. We just need to know big things that happen here that are significant, so that way for.
Can I see?
Yep.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
You think that
are
the
you-
Fubuki
Could you possibly stream what you're writing? Because I'm like,
it's in tier list. Tier list channel.
let's. Okay, never mind.
You think that the Fubuki Doa stuff is important? Like it kind of sets up like
That happens
Her
here?
development. Yes, it
Yeah.
does. Oh, does it? Wait a minute. Hold up.
because like it sets up her rematch and it kind
Oh,
of
yes,
also
it does.
sets up like her relationship with Tatsumaki.
It's like, yeah.
I mean, I don't care,
I
but
think
yeah.
the first. Yeah, only Fubuki stands care about her development. Anyways,
Oh, the 100 Ice fight happens in here too.
Yeah.
yeah.
First time we see Flashy.
I knew that was coming.
Like, hell
First
no.
time we see Flashy the God. Let's go.
That wasn't the first time we saw Tatsu, right?
Mm,
Tatsumaki now. She's been
Oh yeah, yeah,
No.
she fought in Boros during Boros. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
She also fought Doas, but I'm not. Was Doas before or after 100 Knights? I think it was before, right?
it was before.
yes,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah, before. Cause I think that
Yeah.
was. I think they had Tatsumaki's day off, that side chapter in between there.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Theory
That's when
phase.
Flash got the most important. The way.
Yeah, that's right. Where they said Tatsumaki, you can take the day off. Flashy's doing all the hard work right now.
Fuck out of here.
That's what I'm saying.
Genos gets destroyed by Goketsu.
And also
think-
Awakened Cockroach as well.
Oh yeah, he was in here.
What happens
Okay,
here
yeah.
in regards to the monsters? Because that's the major part that we need to talk about here. There are quotes and statements that are said by Garou, and Orochi officially that I'd like to be put in here.
As it pertains to what?
Like they were talking about at the beginning of the arc or their intentions. Even the we need to put in here that they attacked the executives. That's one thing we need to add in here. That they threatened war, right? Didn't that happen before 77 or that happened after 77?
Let me
That's a
check
good
that.
question.
I think that happens after, but I'll check.
That's before 77, I think. Well, oh, no. That's that entire sequence is 70. I think that's 79. Yeah, Giro does that declaration in 79 when she sends that guy to shoot them, and Dark Train kills it.
Okay, so yeah, that's the next arc.
Yeah, because everything else.
Are you considering the declaration of war the beginning of the other one or the end
Yeah, I think
this
yeah,
one?
that's why I got it confused. The Declaration of War is the beginning of the third arc.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
because
then, yeah, 77 is when King or Garou attacks King. Yeah.
no, the beginning of the third arc is 78. Right. Yeah, we had it right. 78. Okay, so then now we have it set. The beginning and
also
end
add,
of the second arc is chapter 77 and chapter 52 respectively. We have all the things listed out, major events that happened in the second arc of One Punch Man.
If you want, you could also add that Saitama knocks out Garou again at the end of this arc. He kicks him when he tries to attack King.
Okay.
Yep.
Always like it ends the way last one ended too.
Would we count that as an important part with King and Saitama having a conversation about how Saitama isn't the best hero?
I think that's pretty important to
I
character
think that's a relevant
development forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was a really important conversation.
Okay. All right. Let's go into the third arc, starting with chapter 78.
So are we still going to do the same thing like we're defining the end first?
Let's do it.
Okay, so I think
While we do that, I also think of the name based on what the endpoint is between the endpoint and the
right.
I
Yeah.
think this one should go
So
all
I
the way
think
until
the ending. Well, see, that's where this is why I want to ask. It depends on how specific you want to get, because technically, this is basically Garu's like next quote unquote hero hunt. I mean, he's hunting down these hero, or they're hunting down him, but it turns reverse. And then
Also, when the Monster Association tries to like properly recruit Garou, like he can't just ignore them anymore. Phoenix Man straight up takes him to the association, and Giro wants to like make him the next, like wants to make him like an executive.
yeah, so it could be from when he gets attacked by them to, I mean, pretty much when he fights Orochi, right? I mean,
Yeah, because like if we're ending the arc, if we want to end the arc there, that would be in line with the theme of like Garou being knocked out at the end of the arc because Orochi knocked him out at the end of that arc. So you'd be like, yeah, so like if that's where the end of the arc is, it would be in line with the theme of Garou being knocked out at the end of each arc.
So the defeat of EC.
Oh, so there's actually two ways you can do this.
well,
You
that's
can
what
do
I was.
What we just said,
Yeah,
or
it
you can
can't
do it
be.
until like.
Go ahead, Mbetta. Go ahead.
So I was
Did you
gonna say you can do
wanna-
it two ways. You can do it from chapter 78 all the way until Orochi knocks him out, or you can do what I think Otori was about to say, where
Is
the
84 or 85? Yeah,
kidnap him,
like when.
because he also
Yeah,
technically gets knocked out there again.
In
yeah, he
85?
does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause-
is that when?
Yeah.
Remember,
Or
it's chapter
84?
No, it's not.
So
It's
what-
not chapter 85.
It's 86.
the end of 80. It's like the end of 84.
It's Hideout. It's when he wakes up in the association, and then it's
What
from
happened?
there.
So like the end of 84.
So like from chapter 78 to chapter 84, we get like Garou being weakened by Watchdog. Like we see Garou waking up and like fighting the 8 heroes. Then he fights Genos. Then he fights Bang and Bomb. And then at the end of that chapter, if we're considering this like the end of the arc, Garou passes out from his like injuries after being carried by Phoenix Man.
Okay, this is what I was talking about. We have to remember that we are differentiating between the Garou saga, Garou's particular storyline, and the arcs within the Garou saga. We're in agreement that all of this happened from beginning to end as the Garou saga. But we're also acknowledged that some of the arcs are not necessarily revolving around Garou. That sometimes Garou's storyline happens to intertwine with certain arcs. So we've already defined the first one as the Hero Hunter arc because it seemed to be that he was driving the entire narrative before the monsters invaded. Then the monsters invaded, and that became the attention. It drew the attention of the entirety of the Hero Association. So that has to be defined by something, and we've called it the Monster Invasion arc. This third one, are we gonna pretend that like the reason why it's a different arc is not because of what happened here? Like, why are we basing the end of this arc on what happens to Garou?
Well, because what happened before that and what happened after that is dictated by what Garou does.
But if you look at the beginning of chapter 85, it kind of feels like they're beginning something new again. Kinda like the
Which
same feeling
that's when like the
chapter-
conversation amongst the S class and Sitch happen, and then after that, that's when he
first
wakes
they set
up.
we should call him a dragon.
Yeah, that's when the S class start to show up.
Yeah. That's the chapter in which like the S class are like beginning to prepare to like raid the Monster Association to save the kid.
Exactly. I would almost start to consider that the beginning of the monster of the hero invasion arc. But here's what's conflicting in my head. Not only do we have the strong point that yes, Garou's storyline is playing a huge part in this arc, so maybe he does have the right to be defining the end of it. Then you also have to consider that if we call 85 the end of the monster invasion arc because the invasion has ended, or whatever, and EC's been defeated or whatever and shit like that, and the heroes are having a meeting, then that arc's really small. It's like 5 to 10 chapters. Like,
But yeah, that's why I was
but
like,
these chapters were really long too, though.
yeah, if you want to make that the ending, which would be fine, then the next one would just be when he wakes up to when he gets defeated by Orochi, I would assume.
Yeah, I think that's like the pre-invasion arc, you could call it.
Yeah, because at the end of when he gets knocked out by whatchamacallit, the next chapter right after that is literally when they're invading the association. So.
Like, I already know in my head that chapter 93 has to be like the start of the invasion arc. That's like for later.
yeah, that's the hero invasion arc for sure, chapter 93.
Yeah.
But the question is the hero invasion arc going to be arc like 5 or something? Like, because I agree that before the hero invasion arc and right here where he wakes up from after the EC scenario can be its own arc, because he goes about his own thing and the focus is him. It's about him getting back to Orochi and he actually fights Orochi. So like, maybe we do have to do 77 to chapter 85.
I think so.
As like a mini arc.
Yeah, 84. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, excuse me, 78
I mean,
to
there's a
85.
there's a lot of content there too, so there's gonna be a lot to talk about anyways.
Feels like its own separate thing. You're like, it's the end of chapter 84, actually.
Okay. Let me see here.
I don't know what you guys want to call that mini arc. I don't know,
Monster.
like the Garou.
The EC arc? Question mark.
It's the
Garou
close
Gauntlet.
staircase. I don't
The
know.
Garou Gauntlet.
Or that.
Garou Gauntlet? That works.
That man was not getting a break.
What happens in 77 again?
Let me see.
Saitama kicks Garou and knocks him out.
Yeah. That's like the King Saitama conversation as well.
And then what happens in 78?
Let me see. That's Ninjas versus Sonic.
Okay, we have 2 endpoints here. We have 78 to 85. Let's talk about what happens in between here.
All right. So like Dole just said, first up you have the ninjas. Like, you see the ninjas try to recruit Sonic.
The next chapter is Giro going to the association and pretending to want to coexist with humans, and then like Darkshine saves like the executives. Chapter 80 is when Genos gets his new body, and also when
Don't forget, Zombie Man also like runs into Armor Gorilla. That's when he goes to see Genius.
that's
Who
way
does?
later on there.
No, it was
Yeah,
in chapter
isn't
78 that we ran into him.
Keep doing
Zombie
it how
Man-
you were just doing it. Like you were elaborating upon like almost in order what was happening.
Yeah. So after yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So I was just saying that happened in chapter 78. That Zombie Man ran into the Armor Gorilla.
Did it?
Wait, no. He sees Armor Gorilla beat up the other gorilla. Never mind. He doesn't run into him.
Yeah. I was gonna say he didn't see
Zombie
Genus
Man-
until like after.
The chapter of Zombie Man going to meet Dr. Genus is like after chapter 84. It's like way later on.
Are we on chapter 80 right now? If we're going in chronological order.
Yeah, I got the chapter.
I'm going in accordance to what Dole was saying because I'm
Yes.
following.
Tario one more time.
Okay.
Yeah, chapter 80 is like Garou meeting Tario one more time, and that's when the heroes show up to like
Oh, the
start
shack.
taking.
Yes. Then 81.
It's like
Pretty sure
part one.
and,
81
yeah.
is part one of like Garou versus the heroes. 82 is part two.
And that's when
83
Genesis appears at the end of 82, I think.
Yep, 83 is Genesis versus Garou, and then 84 is like, you know what 84 is.
Yeah, the EC fight.
I
Yeah.
don't know if you consider this a relevant event, but in chapter 80, that's also when Metal Knight refuses to help with the hostage. So you should just nuke everybody.
Oh yeah, 84 is also like Bang and Bomb versus Garou, but it's like they're just like beating the shit out of him. And then it's the EC fight. Damn, 84 is so fucking big. 130 pages, goddamn.
Hell yeah, bro. The greatest chapter ever.
Those are peak times.
And then
85 is when the S class pull up to the whatchamacallit. That's also when. Is that?
It's also when Garou like designated a dragon.
That's when Zombie Man actually confront. Well, he didn't
Saying
confront him, but
85
that's
is the next arc, right?
probably.
This is where Zombie Man finds the monster, like what's like left of the House of Evolution, but he doesn't like meet Dr. Genius until later on.
Wait, is that gonna be the
Oh,
end? Is 85
should
the
be
end?
84 would be the end.
Yeah. Oh damn it, Tori. 85 is also the chapter where Maya says he's stronger than Atomic. Let's go.
Yeah, I saw it.
Boy.
10 out of 10 chapter right there.
So what if we call it the Garou invasion arc?
Oh.
Oh shit.
I like
Cool.
Yang. I like Yang's name of like the Garou Gauntlet. I like that.
Oh, the Garou gauntlet.
Yeah, because it is just like straight up fighting for like a couple chapters.
And it was like, he was getting non-stop attacked.
Yeah, like fight after fight after fight.
These EC panels are crazy.
So what's the name of the third arc then?
The pre-invasion arc or the preparation arc. Kind of like pre-invasion because like a lot of people have different things going on.
When you say third, you mean from when Garou wakes up to when he fights Orochi?
From when the ninjas meet Sonic to the end of the EC fight.
Garou Gauntlet arc, probably. I like that name.
I thought we were calling the Garou Gauntlet arc chapter 85 to 93.
No, I meant the 84 stuff.
Oh, okay. So whenever he's fighting... Oh, yeah. Whenever he gets jumped by the AB-8 and then Genos and Bang and then gets saved by his Phoenix. Okay, call that the Garou Gauntlet. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, technically, his, like, fights against the three monsters, Rover, Giro,
yeah, it's a bigger
gauntlet. It's also a gauntlet.
Yeah.
It's also a gauntlet. Like,
that's what I thought you were referring to.
Yeah, no.
I feel like it's more appropriate for the third arc. Because in the fourth arc, there's like a lot of different things that are going on before the invasion happens. At that point, it's not just Garou.
Okay. So the fourth arc, and we'll probably only have like a few more after this, so we're almost done here. It won't take too much longer. What are we gonna call? Well, yeah, We have the beginning point, and we already talked about the ending point. It was like 93, right? Can we confirm that? What happens in 92 and in 93?
92 is the end of his fight with Orochi, and
Yeah.
93 is the meeting that's held with the S class, and then it ends with what does it end with?
Ends with Saitama going, or are you talking about 92?
93. 93 ends with the Let's Go panel where all the S class are walking to the association. The literal last page is when Saitama is under the sewer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the hero invasion arc.
In the end of 92, we also see Saitama like entering the sewer for the first time. He lifts it up.
Okay, now we have that. Now let's talk about the major defining events in Arc 4.
Arc 4 is like
Starting at 85 and ending at 92.
So
Okay,
in 85, that's when they officially make Garou a dragon, right?
yeah.
Yes.
They also they call him a monster and they make him like threat level dragon.
And then
Garou-
I guess after that is when he wakes up, and then he essentially sees, and we see Garou describe the association. That's when we actually like see it in its totality to an
A little
extent.
bit before that, that's when we learned they're planning on sending an invasion team. Actually, no, never mind. Scratch that. That was even earlier.
And then right after that, what happens? So that's 80. That's 85. So then on
So
80,
wait, so say again what happens at 85? You said 6 declares Garou monster and a dragon threat. Introduction to the Monster Association.
It's actually 86. 86 is the Monster Association introduction.
that's pretty much the entire chapter. And then
Wait, you could also say that what's his name? Narinki sends the what they call the mercenary team. Rescue his son. In 86, that's when we learned that they were captured.
yeah, that's when we see the entire thing. And then 87 is Garou meeting Tario after he replenishes his
That's the fourth
appetite.
time he meets Tario.
That's also when he starts fighting Bug God and Roy Ripper. So,
Okay.
and then 88 is when we get the limiter talk from Genus,
Man meets up with Genus.
along with Giro talking about creating Orochi. And let's see where it
Orochi
ends.
become the ultimate monster.
Yeah, and then it just ends with the ending of that is when Roy Ripper sliced up Garou. The next chapter is 89, which is is this the entire? Let's see. Okay, so yeah, 89 is like when Casino pulls up to Saitama's house. Giro talks to Roy Ripper and Bug God about fighting Garou, and then we see do we see the Cadres? I don't think we see the Cadres. We see Phoenix Man discussing. We see pretty much the demons, and then Galen and Hellfire.
You see the Cadres at one point before the invasion begins. Let me check again.
Yeah, it's no, actually no, it is this chapter. So this is 89 still. Is when the guy I don't know this guy's name. This little kid who's talking with Tario. He's talking to the sludge jellyfish, and the sludge jellyfish pretty much introduces the cadres as a concept, and then we see all the cadres on panel, and then it ends with Garou waking up from his fight with Roy Ripper.
Also, really quickly, going back to chapter 88, I think this is kind of important. It was when Garou gives Tario the speech about becoming stronger. I think that becomes relevant later.
And then 90 is more of the meeting. Gar attacks Roy Ripper, and he runs into Rover at the very end of 90. And then 91 is his interaction, him running, not he didn't run away, but him backing off from Rover, fighting the demon trio, and actually, this is his entire fight with Rover. And then it also includes his entire fight with Rover, and he meets Garou at the very end of 91. And then 92 is Saitama, like, literally beginning his, whatever, what is he even doing? He's trying to find what caused the earthquake, yeah. And then we see Garou versus Orochi. Oh, sorry, Garou versus Garou, then Garou versus Orochi, and then after that is, let's see.
Garou like gives him the speech about how you had to experience death multiple times to become the ultimate monster.
So the end of this is Orochi versus Garou.
Yeah, that's 92. I would say so, because the next 90. I mean, unless you want to say 93, but 93 is pretty much like when they like literally start their like the last couple of panels are like the let's go, like they're like walking on a street.
No, the whole
to the
chapter of
association.
93 is the hero meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're good.
Yeah.
And 93 is
I just
the
noticed we see Psycho's in chapter 92.
Anyways.
That's it, anyways.
Yeah, we don't care about cyclists around here, buddy.
Yeah, so Tom enters the sewers. Yeah. Okay. Alright, we're almost through. How the fuck did I forget how to spell sewers?
It's it's tough.
Tough, man. Alright, so the hero invasion arc. Tots versus Evil Eye. Or yeah, when does this end? Oh yeah, here's the good part. Here's where the actual fucking discussion comes in.
When does what end?
When does the hero invasion arc end?
Personally, I think it goes all the way until Tatsumaki lifts the base.
Well, yeah, if it didn't, it would literally just be one chapter. So I mean,
130.
like,
Wait, when does she lift the base?
so what is it? So
After
what is it?
130.
It's 93 to 1.
93
Yeah,
to
130.
130.
She lifts the base in chapter 93?
No, she
Oh,
lifts it at
130.
130.
Oh, to 130. Oh, because let's see what happens.
That's when her and Psychos, like the very last page of that is her. Oh no, it's not. Yeah, it's her and Psychos on the surface.
Because you guys are acknowledging that Saitama versus Garou, Saitama versus Orochi is within this hero invasion arc.
Yeah.
Right?
And 130 is titled Tatsumaki's Full Power when she lifts the base. So that fight has already begun. Is this a chapter where everybody gets shield?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
supposed to shut up and list up the entire base.
So she puts shields on everybody in the chapter?
Yes.
Bet. The place where they the hero's main fights gets interrupted, that's where I think is the end of the arc. And if that's 130, then I agree.
That's 129. I'm pretty sure. The ending of 129 is when
What do you mean by main
Darkshine.
fights? You mean like when she puts the bubbles around them?
Yes.
That's
All of
130.
them, or just when like she first starts to do it?
129, we only see
The
Darkshine.
first one, yeah, the first one we see is Darkshines, and then the next chapter, we see all of them on all of them, and then the ending of that is when her and Sairochi are on the surface.
This is so sloppy. We cannot call this the end of the arc. We cannot. Like, it has to
Like I said,
be
if it was up to me, it would be one arc.
131. It can't be 130. 131 looks like a beginning type shit too, where we're like,
Yeah.
fuck.
It's because like I'm thinking like it's the underground part of the arc. Like that's the end of the underground stuff.
No, it can't be here. It's the end of the end of the arc has to be whenever she successfully pulls him out.
Yeah, that's 130.
No, it's not.
I'm talking about during
When you
the
say
fight.
successfully pulls them out, you mean when all the S class are on the surface?
Shit. It's gotta be that. It's
Well,
gotta
if
be
if
that.
it's that, then that's after her entire fight with Sairochi. Or sorry,
That
when
doesn't make
Genos
sense at that point, right?
intervenes.
Yeah,
That's in the middle of chapter 134.
If you want to do that, then the beginning of the next one would be what, like after when the cadres appear. I honestly think that makes sense.
So you can either do the end of chapter, or you can either do chapter 130 or chapter 134, because 134 is when she pulls them out and does the twist.
Well, I feel like the S class attacking the jet should be included in that.
So you think
It
138?
should. Yeah, I'm
So
thinking.
much.
Well,
No, because they're on the
because if
surface.
that's in,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
That's so much though. Like, why not? What's wrong with 130? I feel like that's like a solid endpoint.
I mean, I don't know.
Like 131.
If you're talking about
like,
just like the
hospital,
general
like,
transition from being off under the underground to on top, then sure, it probably is. But if we're like going to include the Sairochi fight, then we would have to go all the way up until the cadres attack a mine zombie man, because that's pretty much when that
I
ends.
can't even say 139 is the end because you still got the hammer going through, bro.
Oh, you 130.
Bro, I'm on 41 right now, and I'm still thinking. Oh no.
That's way too much.
Yeah, no. You're right. Nope.
I feel like
41.
does the underground and surface part not feel like two distinct things to you?
I think you should just stop at 39 if we're gonna go all the way.
Blast
Actually,
and
not
surface,
39.
much.
Sorry, hold up. Wait a minute.
30. Do like a vote.
Actually,
130,
I think you're right,
139.
Grimm. Hold up. Yeah, if you're gonna not, yeah, I think Grimm's actually
This
right.
is hard as fuck, bro.
Yeah, so
Because I
if
just
you're
seen
gonna-
Homeless's orbs pop up in 139 too
Go
now.
from 93
Yeah, so
all
it
the way
would
to 140.
either-
That's so much.
I honestly think it would have to stop if you're okay. So if you're gonna stop at the jet stuff, that's one thing, but that includes the Homeless Emperor's attack. So if you're gonna include that, but not like the entirety of like when the cadres actually advance, it would have to be. Well, no, it can't be 141 because that's when like I might get ripped in half. So I mean,
Think about it with like some perspective though. Like you're coming into this arc, like they're invading the monsters, but like you're saying we should go all the way until we're like up on the surface. We're fighting the jet. That feels like it's so much to me. I feel like it's not the same thing anymore.
I feel like that's just the like continuation of their advancement, and then when the tables turn is when the cadres appear, which would be 139 or 141.
I would argue it feels like we're reaching a new storyline or like a new point when Psychos becomes Sairoshi and like we're up at the surface now.
I agree.
The way chapter 130 ends,
I'll
it
say
literally
this.
says-
Yes, I agree. Fine. I think the strongest one right now is 130. I'm just saying, like, this is still in the middle of a fight. Like, I agree. It's a whole new stage, and it feels like it's a whole different thing, and like, it's a really good endpoint because it's where all the other heroes have their fights interrupted, and it's kind of a new starting point in their storylines.
Right.
So there are more factors that say that yes, this is an ending point besides the single reasoning that this is the middle of her fight. But still, man, it's the middle of her fight. So that's why I would at least want to entertain a different endpoint.
Right. But think about the way we've done all these other ones too. We've kind of always had like a strong end and a strong beginning, and it feels like 130 is a strong end and 131 is a strong beginning.
I would
Like,
think that the
when
ending
hospital-
of her fight and the beginning of the cadres advancing is much stronger.
Which type was
Yeah,
that?
but like, how would you define it though?
That's
Like
what we were
138.
talking about earlier. Is 139 and 141. Like when the jet. I guess
In
that depends.
139,
If you
we're
want-
already seeing the cadres. Like it feels weird. Like
But the thing is, 130. None of these are strong beginning points. 131 isn't a strong beginning point either.
I don't think 131 feels
I
like a
think-
new thing.
Well, that's what I'm
We're on
saying.
the
I think the
surface now.
cadres,
We're watching them
the
on
cadres
TV and, like,
entrance is the cadres entrance is a much stronger starting point. So
read chapter 131 though. Like
Just did.
I think
It is downtime-ish. Don't get me wrong. I definitely agree to that. 100%.
like you're saying 140 would be the starting point.
But 139
Right?
and 130 and 138, also has like down. No, not 138. Bro, this is hard, dog.
I feel like 139 and 140. None of them really feel like a starting point to me.
141 does. 141 technically has the same start as 131.
Let me see.
It's Suiryu in the hospital, and 131 is Metal Bat in the hospital. The rest of the chapter of 131 is
If you
more
want to think about it
preliminary
that way, it's
stuff.
even weirder.
But
Wait, are you
141,
talking about 141?
I'm saying that 141 and 131 start in the same way with Suiryu and Metal Bat, respectively, in the hospital, and then something inspiring them or changing the perspective of what's going on. But in 131, it continues to be a relaxed chapter, while in 141, it's just things spiraling down until we get the cadres popping up out of nowhere.
I think
At the
that's
same
a
time, though, in
strong
131, you see them
beginning.
heading towards the battlefield. Like a bunch of people heading towards the battlefield. The reason why I don't like 141 as much is like because you're saying like it's a hospital chapter, so like it feels like a beginning chapter. But then you ask yourself, if we're using that logic, why did we skip over 131 and then go to 141 as the new beginning? You know what I'm saying?
Well, 140. Wait, are you saying you would hold up?
I don't like the
So you
logic
want?
of saying that like 141 is a hospital chapter because we had a hospital chapter
Well,
and
it's
we skipped
not.
over it.
I mean, the other half of the chapter is the introduction of the cadres, which is why I think it's a better ending.
Yes, and I'm using it as just for the reasoning that you're using to try and say that we already have a hospital chapter before this, so we should use the chapter beforehand. I'm using that same reason to say that in this chapter, where we also have a hospital chapter, we also have the introduction of the cadres, which also feels like a beginning.
It does. I don't think that's a good starting point. I think that's a good ending point.
Me neither. That's what I'm saying. Like this is a tough one. This is a tough one.
So like if we went by what you guys are saying, would we be going from chapter 93 all the way until like 138 or whenever the Tatsumaki stuff ends?
Yeah.
I mean, even if we go with what you're saying, we're going from 93 to 31.
All right, let's entertain another idea. How would you guys feel about doing from chapter 93 all the way to like the end of the Orochi fight, and then from like the Orochi fight to the Cadre stuff?
What happens after the Orochi fight? What chapter is that?
Like in the Orochi fight, that's when Saitama like he kills Orochi, and that's when we first see like the
Oh.
God mural.
Is
I don't think it
is
starts. The
113
ending
the
of
end
that
of the
is not
Orochi fight?
strong.
That's right after the
Let me
end.
check. I think it's like 112. I need to check again though.
Yeah, fake is right after the Orochi fight. It's the king thing that happens.
Yeah, 112 is the Orochi fight. Or the never mind, sorry. Yeah, it is 112.
I don't know. I don't think the start of that is good because that's just the Does 3 draw. That's not. Oh. I mean,
You don't want to start season 4 with US.
no.
Listen, it's not just the West though. Does anything else happens in that chapter? Let me just check.
What else is there? Amai gets all his feet taken out. What more do you want? I mean, Garou. Yeah, no. I mean, the ending of this
like
chapter.
So much.
The ending of this is when King melts the monster.
He may be right. Because at this point, we're talking about the heroes fighting cadres. Because we have to remember, most of the heroes fought demons before their cadre fights. And for the most part, at chapter 113, where we get fake, the king fight, most of the cadres, or most of the heroes have already encountered their cadres. And what are we going to, like, from 113 to, like, 131, as it were? As I'm clicking through here,
if we're still gonna make 131 the end point, then my logic is just go from 93 to 131. I'm only saying the possibility of the Orochi thing if you guys want to like go all the way to the cadres. I was saying then you could go from Orochi's defeat to the cadres.
No. Now that you said that, bro, I think there's some validity in 113 to 131.
Really? I was thinking 93 to 131.
So you're saying from when the ending of Garou versus Orochi to when Garou gets taken out by Saitama, and then from there it's from Garou getting taken out, Orochi getting taken out from by Saitama to the Psychos versus Tatsumaki base flip.
Bro, I didn't follow any of that.
No, I get what he's saying. I think he's just confirming what you were trying to ask. So he's
you're saying from the Orochi versus Garou to when King Orochi gets killed by Saitama, and then from there the next one would be
King versus
or it would end with Sairochi getting lifted up to the surface.
yes,
Is that what you're?
yeah. I'm saying that the King chapter all the way to the base lift is an arc, and from 93 to 112, which is the end of the Orochi fight, is an arc. That's what I think makes more sense if we're having this big squabble
I
about
think
what
130
really
just
consists
feels
of
like such a like definitive ending to me.
Wait, so then it would be 130 to what?
You can still like go like oh gee, no, that's not a lot of chapters.
It's not.
Actually, that's a lot. You can go from like 130 all the way to when the cadres like get introduced, right? Because it's like first we're on the surface, then we have like that long ass cycles, and then all the jet stuff with all the S class teaming.
Okay, yeah. So then it would be 130 to 140. I think
End
it's
of 140, something like that.
141.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
141.
yeah, because that's when the Cadres do their walk. Is in 141.
141. Wait, what did you just say? 140 to 141 is a whole arc to you?
No, that's not what I said. I said
131, 141, right?
yeah. I said if we're stopping at the base flip, then the next thing after that, the transition would be the ending. Sorry, the beginning of the Sairochi versus Tatsumaki, and then the ending of that would be when the Cadres are doing their walk, right?
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, technically, the Homeless Emperor attacks at the end of 140, but 141 is when they do their like walk.
141 can't be the end of an arc, especially with what's happening here in the consecutive portions here. I think the fact once we look at chapters 43 and 44, I think the beginning of the sixth arc has to be before. I think it has to be when Homer shows up on the surface. So
then that would be 140.
Yeah, 140.
Oh wait, hold on. Is it 140?
No, it's
140.
139.
Bonus chapter.
That's why I didn't like that earlier
139.
the thing that you guys said earlier. Because Homeless, he shows up like in the middle of chapter 139. It's like a really weird thing. Because then Tatsumaki throws the spear after.
Oh my god, bro! This arc is impossible. You know why? It's because the arc is really chapter 93 all the way up until Garou shows up.
Logic that I like to use is that
originally
like,
I
if
thought
you were
that's how
like
you were
directing
gonna
an
do
anime
it.
season, where would you want the season to end?
That's what I'm doing by
like,
it too.
can see the season
I can
ending
think
at
of that.
I think it would end with Tatsumaki's. What chapter is that? I mean, I think it would end with 139 if we go by that logic.
If we're going by the logic of like ending an anime season, I can see a couple of points. One is the base lift. The other one is like chapter 138 when they defeat Orochi, and then you see like the god silhouette. I feel like that's another like definitive end for me. Like the Cadres walking, it feels more like the end of an episode than the end of like a season to me.
What chapter was
You
that?
can't just like show them walking and then like say like season's over. You know what I'm saying?
What chapter was that?
Which the god stuff you mean?
The Cadres walking.
141.
The other proposal that I made was 138. End of
Pretty sure 130. Well, 139 is literally the ending of the drill. So I mean, I don't.
Oh yeah, they didn't kill Orochi in 138, did they?
No, they killed him in 139.
Yeah. I'm going back to 130. I'll stick to that.
Shit. We're not going to be able to do this. We're close. We're close. But
I feel like you need to like figure out a good point from like 131 to something.
yeah. We know the part that we're stuck at right here is 93. We know 93 is going to be the beginning of this. That's the last clear beginning point that we have because the heroes literally go out to do these tasks. But points like the Orochi versus Saitama fight, the heroes getting bubbled up and protected, the base lift are all great points of like ending the arc or ending the conflict. But they're followed up by other events that were already going on. Like for example, the big controversy of Homeless already attacking Amai in the end of the other arc or whatever, beginning the fight.
So when it comes to Orochi, I honestly don't have a preference because I can see it both ways. I can see you ending it at Saitama beating Orochi, or I can see you going all the way to the base lift because that can either be like a mid-season finale type thing or an end-of-season type thing. I think they both work.
Well, either way, I gotta go, and we got everything we needed already. So I'll just hit you guys back up in the next time that we're all free or whatever to get more of this done. And then you already know what the list is to get the tier list done, the other special topical videos done about the arc in general, from Garou to the different fights that happen, the best competitors, who's done the best disciple somebody asked for. We'll see. I'll hit you guys up for that shit too. So we'll see y'all boys the next time.
All right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yo ho!